Where are you? Interestingly, this is the very first question God asked Adam. It's the first of many questions that God asks that are recorded in Scripture. Adam had managed to get himself into a rather awkward predicament. It was not only awkward, it was downright tragic. The truth of the matter, Adam was hiding from God due to a choice he had made, a very poor one, to be sure. This is a very profound and provocative question God asked. It really deserves a closer look. For one, it was an important enough question for God to ask in the first place. Perhaps we need to take some pointers here from the most brilliant mind ever. Is it possible that God, in all of his wisdom, actually knows how best to deal with individuals from a restorative perspective? Just maybe this question has tremendous importance for our own life. God did not ask this question because he needed to know where Adam was physically. He asked it for Adam's sake. Adam needed to come to grips with his current reality, one that had been created by his choice. This question also marked the starting point for Adam and for all humanity that would follow of a process of redemption and restoration God already had in motion. For Adam, it all started with the question. It starts with the same question for us. Where are you? I'm sure most of us have seen and used at one time or another those theme park or large mall maps. You know, the ones that paint a bird's eye view of the place with all the various features, destinations, or stores identified, and with one big arrow pointing to a specific location with the words, "You are here." This simple knowledge helps us gain a perspective we need to have. It's important information we need to get to where we want to go. It all starts with knowing where we are in relationship to our desired destination. But the same is true for our lives. Each of us have arrived at this point in our life by a series of choices and decisions we have made. Certainly, there have been also factors of which we've had no direct control. However, our responses to those outside forces have contributed in their own substantial way to where we are today. The first step in the way forward for our life requires an answer to the question, where am I? The answer to that question may evoke another question such as, how did I get here? Notice God's second question to Adam is in this category when he asked, and I quote, "Who told you that you were naked?" unquote. You see, God's line of questioning was designed to evoke an honest awareness on Adam's part. But often, just like Adam, when we find ourselves in a place we don't like due to our own choices, we become defensive and actually turn to blame others. Asking ourselves these kinds of questions is not meant to drive us into some form of morbid introspection that results in a bunch of guilt and condemnation and blame shifting. That is counterproductive. And yet that's where many of us wind up when we stop to reflect on our lives. This is the reason so many of us avoid these kinds of reflective questions altogether. Looking honestly at where our lives are in relationship to where we hoped to be can be scary, even painful. But simply avoiding the question is also counterproductive. So how about it? Where are you? Your willingness to courageously grapple with that question and take the steps needed, if you don't like where you are, may just be the decision that changes everything from here forward. Until later, this is David Jacob Smith with Map Through Builder's Path.